We'll go ahead and kind of get started here. I'm Todd Sullivan. I'm Assistant City Engineer, and thank y'all for coming out. This is a very big project that we see as a city here of a project that we want some input on that could make a area a lot safer for our campus and for pedestrians and for cars. But this meeting's more of a update to kind of give you a history if you hadn't been. This is the second or third meeting that we've had of getting input from the different from the police department, from UNA police, from the city, all different perspectives, and we've kind of had a couple of meetings along the way. We've got input from those different places, and kind of came up with what we still preliminary design, but more towards our final preliminary that we wanted everybody to get some eyes on, look at, and see if they have anything that stands out. If we missed anything that somebody was really knows that there's a need of. Last meeting we had, we talked about adding a few more crosswalks, and we've gone back and added one more crosswalk here for at Norton for this parking lot and for events that are held there at Norton to be able to have a place to cross there. That was one of the concerns of the group, and then we've added another crosswalk here at Hawthorne to be able to access the practice field for the band field and for them to be able to cross and go through there. As you can tell too, we've kind of looking at possibly changing the color of these crosswalks, some type of theme there to where, you know, we've got purple in here for UNA. That way we did it with the street signs. If you notice there, all the street signs there on campus are purple, have the North Alabama logo on them. That kind of gives you that separation of when you're on campus, when you're off campus. And the same thing that we're looking to do with the crosswalks as well here. That just kind of lets you know you're on campus, but also as a color, if you're driving down the road, you do recognize that. Like I said, bringing this down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes and a turning lane, it is going to narrow the focus. It's going to be safer for pedestrians to cross. They're just crossing one lane of traffic and having an area to where they could have safe refuge to cross there versus trying to navigate the 4 lanes that they currently have now to go down through there. And the other thing that we did additionally add that we're looking at is taking this design in the 2 lanes with the turn lane all the way to Cypress Mill. We had stopped it.
And a bike lane.
And yes, and it would have a bike lane along through there as well, all the way to Cypress Mill. So to be able to, that way you are slowing traffic down and navigating that, kind of getting them in that mindset of what is that they're coming into an area that is different, and to be able to kind of slow them down and to make it safer for the pedestrians. We've got this photo here. We've got a printed off picture back here on the back on the table that you can stand around, look at. This is what we're needing from y'all. Input is what we need to make sure that we have everybody's thoughts, processes to be able to go forward with this project. And so any input, any questions that we have, that you have, you know, that's what we want to have this meeting for, is to be able to answer those and to be able to answer those and put those in the plan that we can. Anything else there, Brad, you'd like to add?
I would just say that too, that you mentioned that basically what we're talking about here is a resurfacing project. It's not rebuilding the street, not adding any new structures really. It's all be accomplished through striping and resurfacing of the existing asphalt width that we have through those areas.
Yeah.
have
Yes.
a question. I live in the neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, you two-lane that, I've lived in my house for 70 years. I remember when Pine Street was two-lane.
Mhm.
Where's all that traffic if they decide not to go down because it's congested? Where's that traffic gonna go?
And that's a good question, because
Okay, I'm
at
very
first thought,
interested.
it is going from 4 lanes to
Two
two,
lanes.
and it's really going to 2 lanes with that turning lane. And the big difference is that turning lane. There's studies shown that a 2-lane road with a turning lane can carry almost as much traffic as a 4-lane road. Because what essentially happens now, when you're traveling down Pine Street, and let's say you are you're headed towards campus and you're wanting to turn left. Well, you're sitting in that inside lane, and essentially now Pine Street headed towards campus is 1 lane. So because that inside lane is being blocked while this car is waiting for it to be turned. So what this does, by allowing it to go down to 2 travel lanes and a turn lane, it gets especially in the areas where you have all the hills going through the neighborhood, that is one of the city's concern, the police's concern, is and I'm sure you've experienced it there, if you're sitting in that inside lane waiting to turn, and you're in that hilly section, you're sitting there you're afraid somebody's gonna pop over that hill and be able to rear end you. This gets any type of stopped vehicle out of the traffic.
So there's not gonna be any parking along that area?
No, ma'am, not through not through that residential area. The only area that we are looking at adding some on-street parking, it would be right in front of the school here, right in front of Kilby. And
And how dangerous is that gonna be for somebody pulling out?
well, and that is, so right now we are looking at 15 feet is what you need to be able to back out of a safe properly. And with our lane and the bike lane there, you have the necessarily the feet that you need there to be able to do that. This area right through here, we're still, we don't know if we'll keep this as angled parking or if it will be parallel
Because that's
parking.
gonna block the one lane, when somebody pulls out, it's gonna block the one lane that you create.
They gotta stop.
To be able to stop and move into
Right.
there. And
That's
Allow
gonna block
somebody
that
to
whole.
back out.
yes, now I will say that
It's the same problem.
and that is what we're looking at to see if we are going to do, and this is the only area through that stretch that we do have parking. That is not going to be a lot of areas down through there. And like I said, we're still trying to figure out, right now we've got it drawn as angled parking. It may go to parallel parking just for safety concerns there, but we're trying to maximize as much parking that we can safely for campus.
So if, what we suspect, she lives on Stewart, which
Yes.
is
Mhm.
already got a lot of
Like a
trouble.
race.
And it's already, so if this, because you go down to 2 lane, creates a problem for the neighborhood, are y'all gonna deal with it? We don't want Stewart Avenue to be your new Pine
No,
Street.
and as a city, we don't either. And I really don't know if you will. Is it going to take you longer to get through campus as it does now? Yes, it probably will. Is that that's not, I think now traffic's able to go through campus too quickly. It's too fast now. The speed that they go through it is not for safety for the pedestrians or for the residents there. So it's different than what you're experiencing now, but I don't know what you're experiencing now is the safest for the community, for the campus, and for the traveling public.
Stewart Avenue's a raceway.
That's
Absolutely.
That whole neighborhood has become a raceway. Cumberland is a raceway.
that's and
Wildwood Park is a raceway.
no, and I know we've done different studies on that as far as speed studies and all on those, but
You have done studies in our neighborhood?
so in some of those streets over there we have, yes.
I
I've
know
asked for
there's
speed
one-
bumps for 2 years on Cumberland and been refused.
Yes.
So that's a different story.
So,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
Yeah, 2 questions. How much is all this gonna cost, and is UNA gonna pay anything on it?
Right now, what is the latest estimate? And right now, the numbers we have, we don't have any. Like I said, we're still in the preliminary numbers. I mean,
If
design.
we go all the way to
Mhm.
Cypress Mills.
Yes.
I think our last estimate was in the $600,000 to $700,000 range for the resurface. Most of that's an asphalt cost, obviously, in the resurfacing and then the striping.
So, that's what we're looking.
But this is a road that needs resurfaced anyway, so it's not that cost wouldn't be there either way, but the
Well, is
striping-
UNA gonna pay anything on it?
We're still in the process of working with that right
Can you
now.
not just do a walkover for them? Why couldn't you do that? That's, to me, a simple thing.
So,
They have $45 million in state tax.
I really, come on
no,
now.
and when, so as you know, there was a corridor study done for, that the city and UNA, went with, the local MPO.
Say
and-
that, wait, say that again.
There was a corridor study done from Cypress Mill to, all the way down through downtown to Dr. Hicks. It was done 5 years ago, is that about right on the traffic study that, 5, 6 years ago that it was,
That was
NACOG did that, and, that we did with them. And this is kind of the results that we got from that corridor study. This is the next step of that.
The
That
walkway was not.
it was.
I would say too, on the walkway, is it's hard to funnel everybody to one
That's-
spot. There, you know,
Mhm.
pedestrians have a way of crossing at the closest point. You know,
What-
it's hard to get them to go to a certain place.
And the
You're college students,
Yeah.
surely they got enough sense. If they don't, then they take their life in their own.
Well, that's another
I mean,
study.
You know, come on now.
and so yeah, so no,
Also-
that's
Also, we're getting the bike lanes here, which should help some of that traffic
Mhm.
too. You know, I know a lot of those students live in those areas that are north of here, up to Cypress Mill, so that might help too.
yes, no. So,
Why did we turn over Stewart Avenue as a parking lot for UNA? From Cumberland to Old Waterloo Road,
why is it a?
parking lot for UNA. Why the parking spaces marked off and why is UNA allowed parking?
Now parking, the parking on the streets, it depends on the width. And depending on the width of the street is what we allow for on-street parking. If we allow it on one side of the road or if we allow it on both sides of the road. And Stewart Avenue is wide enough there to where parking is allowed on both sides, where it'd be allowed on both sides of the street.
But I've watched trucks try to get to Mitchell Hollins where it's really good,
Mhm.
that have issues getting through there because they can't park in the parking spaces or the vehicles are extra large and stick out into the street. We know this is an issue, I've documented it, I've got pictures of it. I just went past the car that had a solid side put out and somebody come around and go, it's an issue.
And so,
Okay. Y'all consider a simple crosswalk over there, but that's not smart enough. They're not smart enough to cross there.
I would, a simple, that is, putting a elevated crosswalk, that was talked about during the study. That was one of the items that was brought up when they were doing the initial corridor study. And the cost, the usage, it was not part of the final study.
How many students do you think on a daily basis cross from that spot across all 4 lanes of traffic? How many? Y'all done that study?
Yes, there has
I
been
mean-
study when that part, and I don't have those numbers in front of me. I do know when the corridor study was done, all those
Who has
numbers.
those numbers?
We have the study. We have that in our office. The MPO is the one that did that. NACOG is the one that,
So this information I should be calling NACOG about?
yes, and I wanna say I can get you a copy of that corridor study that was done, if you would
I
like.
just wanna know how many students we're talking about, that we're closing 2 lanes, you know, to 4 lanes to 2 lanes. How many students are we talking about?
And it's not necessarily about the students crossing, it is also about the changing the view and the character of this area. we're going through campus, we're going through downtown, and that is the whole mission of what that corridor study was done, was to evaluate this whole stretch of Pine Street. This road was put in years and years ago.
I remember when
And it has to see if the current function of the road is functioning how its surroundings is now, with the downtown area, with the campus, and that is what this corridor study has shown us, that this will make the traffic flow, make the area, the road be adapted to its surroundings.
We're nowhere near capacity. I mean, I think the
No.
road's around 4,000 vehicles per day. A 3-lane will carry 20,000
That's what I see.
vehicles a
That's-
day, so, you know, it's not like it's pushing the capacity.
If people know how to drive and where they're at, a lot of these people are from out of town and don't even understand this city.
And-
There's traffic we have huge traffic issues around here, and every time you look, it's out-of-state tag.
Okay.
Todd, let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
Over at Hawthorne, you got a crosswalk over there. That, if you're going south, you come up that hill and then you're right there at Hawthorne. Will there be any type of, pedestrian signal or anything there, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably similar to what they have over on Wood Avenue, looking at, you know, one of these, what you call rectangular rapid flashing beacon, which is a push button operated pedestrian signal, but those will be installed at those pedestrian crossings that are not at signalized intersections.
And the other question is, you know, this proposed site for the stadium, what type of traffic, I mean, how's that gonna affect that area with the stadium?
And that is why, and kind of goes back to Brad's comment, all we're doing now is resurfacing the road and restriping. We're not adding any other landscaped items, we're not adding any type of hardscape, because we know possibility of the stadium coming there too. We did not want to design some plan, spend millions of dollars, and then and not knowing what this is going to look like in the next 10 years. And everything that we're doing now is resurfacing, restriping, putting down delineators, lighting it. It's nothing that is going to be spent to where whatever the stadium or whatever comes here needs, that is what we're hoping to be able not to have to rebuild.
And this will start 2 lanes up at Cypress Mill? Approximately.
And that's what possible. Yes, what we've got proposed here is starting that at Cypress Mill and running into Urban.
And then, and the urban will be.
Yes, Urban would be where it would go back to Fulton.
Two lane at Cypress Mill, and how wide it is from there up until.
2 lanes and a turning, and 2 bike lanes.
How's that gonna affect the traffic trying to coming up to the school to hit it, when you try to take a left or whatever into?
It will be on the other, it will be, the traffic turning right into there, it would still be coming, yes, that will be there, and then as you.
Basically, that outside lane, if you're headed toward campus, would just drop.
Disappear, that's what.
It'll be a dedicated right into that.
So it'll be a turn lane only and then one more lane, right there, Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay, that was a good.
And
I like
then
that.
also it kind of ties into that because that whole area in between, I guess, Sheridan and Cypress Mill is kind of, because you've got the road
Yes.
that turns off to the right
Yes.
and looking at Jackson. So
So you gonna do anything about that, or will that?
not at this phase.
Okay.
Not at this current phase. We're stopping at Cypress Mill because it's one of those, you know, you can keep going and going to where you stop. So
And there'll be a turn lane to go left down Cypress Mill on Pine, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. I don't mind that part of it.
There you go.
I'm not sure about this other, but that's a good
That's,
idea.
well, and that's the other thing too, that we've got to see it as we're hoping to change the driver's expectation and
As
there.
long as they don't drive through my
That's it.
my neighborhood, I'm okay with
Yes.
all of this, y'all. but
Yes, yes.
I'm real concerned over, you know, our roads in this neighborhood are not built to accommodate all this traffic.
And I understand, I mean, when you first look at, all right, we're going to 4 lanes down to 2 lanes. It is, no, that is, your natural reaction is, there's plenty of traffic on here. And it's kind of hard to wrap around how the 2 lane and the turn lane can carry. Studies have been done, shown,
I have to believe y'all.
that show that it does. We're looking at other areas in the city of doing this same exact thing. And not only us, but it is nationwide. And like I said, the biggest thing is it gets that turn in traffic from sitting there as a dead duck in a lane that is moving versus you get it out the travel path, and that does help with safety.
God, it make me feel real good. If we got a house for sale in our neighborhood, if you come by it, right there on Stewart Avenue,
Right.
if you would come by that house and live there, I'll feel a lot comfortable about.
Let me
about
have
this
your address.
idea. Yeah, don't y'all think that's a good, if you or mayor come and live in our neighborhood for what y'all are fixing to do, I would feel a whole lot better if you lived in my
Sit there and
neighborhood.
wait to get out of the driveway.
She can't get out right now.
Coming out of Stewart, and now I will say, and that is one thing, and because how dangerous is it now when you come up, when you are turning up these side streets onto Pine Street? That's the most dangerous turn, one of the most dangerous turns. You notice we have no left turns, we have only rights. That I will say that is some of the most dangerous turns we have in the city, and by doing this, we're hoping to make that even safer. Those roads that are coming out of those subdivisions through here,
If you're turning left, you'll also have that center turn lane as a refuse, you know.
right, versus having to cross 2 lanes of traffic and hope that that first lane is open. Now you are just having to cross 1 lane of traffic, and you have a turn lane to sit in to be able to see if anything else is coming. So,
Wouldn't a traffic light actually help there? Because really, that whole area is all hills.
yes, ma'am, it is.
And so it's all blind spots completely. And I've been living here since 2007. I have yet to see cars actually get slower. They're just getting faster.
That's
And so living in an area where you have a university, even on Park Street, you have Morris Hill, you have the flashing lights when the schools are coming out.
5,
You have flashing
4,
lights over the
3,
by the
2,
university.
1.
Never actually really taken into consideration. And so for blind spots, putting a turning lane, I've lived in big cities, putting in turning lanes doesn't actually diminish or create more safety. Traffic lights where you have to stop because it's red and either you're gonna get a ticket or you're not gonna get a ticket really diminishes some of that unsafe pathways. But on Cumberland, coming out of, not Haley, what's the other one? Not Dixie, it's, you know which one I'm talking about. Going closer to Kentucky Fried Chicken, those
Linwood.
areas. Yes, but one more is,
Linwood.
no, that's coming this way. In any event, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The reality is that more than usually a traffic light forces you to stop.
And a couple of things on a traffic light is, there are certain warrants that traffic has to meet, and that is volumes in both directions to be able to make a traffic signal warrant. And there's about 8 criteria that they have to hit, just so that you don't put up traffic signals everywhere and the public becomes, because then it can become a nuisance for the traveling public there. So the area through there, those side streets would not warrant any type of signal because there's not enough volume in the opposite directions as well. And I will also say, going up and down those hills, you kind of have some issues there. Even if there was the warrant there, you know, you could have some issues of popping over hill and not being able to see a signal But the major reason there's not one there is because the traffic doesn't warrant on the side streets, to be able to get one in there.
When people come up Cumberland and they pass Dixie and they're headed off the hill down to Wildwood Park and the sun's setting, you can't see when you come up that hill. And they're really bad to go off in the middle of the street. We're gonna have a head-on collision right there. They come up the hill. That's a big hill. It takes a lot to get up that hill. You know, I've been there 63 years. And I can hear them coming up the hill. Some of them let off, some of them don't. I bought me a radar gun. I sat there and checked them. Some of them run 40 plus mile an hour. Unfortunately, city is a lot of the offenders. I hate to say that, but city trucks coming through there. School buses are speeding through there. I've had issues with that.
Hey Todd.
Yes.
Just a couple of things. On the actual route itself, so through on Pine Street, were there any, time studies done in terms of how we're flowing now and how it would flow post, if this were to be implemented post-construction?
Yes, I'll have to, I don't know if, I don't have those numbers. I do
Yeah.
know that those numbers were looked at when the original study was done by Kroll.
All right,
So,
and the second part of that is it possible, I know it's possible, but, you know, there is traffic collected in terms of trips through what are called traffic analysis zones. And within those trips, you have things like home-to-work trips. And in our area, we make a lot of home-to-work trips because we can get places quicker. Like, for example, when I lived in a much bigger city many years ago, you would, when you got off from work, instead of going home and maybe changing clothes and then going to the grocery store, you would leave work, go to the grocery store, run your errands, and then you would come home because it was too much of a hassle, you know, to leave and come back. In our area, I know that we've seen many more home-to-work trips than you would in a larger city. So I'm wondering if outside of the corridor, if we could run some modeling, Brad, on some home-to-work trips, what that looks like coming in and out of the corridor to see what potential impact it could be on these side streets that the neighbors are talking about. Because if it significantly increases, you know, there may be some tweaks that could be made. If it significantly decreases, that's great. But I think with the time study and then also throwing in the idea of let's look at those home to work trips outside of the corridor, and how many of those are actually using the corridor. We were able to do that on the Veterans Drive study, and you know, it was a real eye opener for us to see what kind of trips were actually being made on Veterans Drive, because we were like in the 95th percentile of transient home to work trips, and they were not, their destination was not within those zones that fall within that Veterans Drive corridor.
and I will say, when that corridor study was done, those things were taking in, I mean, I'm sure that they went through and took in those things, and these are the results that, because where we came up with this design, we just did not, hey, this sounds like a good idea. Let's go and let's move this down from 4 lanes to 2 lanes with a turn lane. This was what the study produced off of taking in account of the whole area through there. So this isn't just something that we were sitting up in the office saying, you know what, I think this would be a good idea. This is something that the city is invested in, the MPO, NACOG is invested in, and UNA's invested in. And these are the results of that study. So, and like I said, this is just the first phase of what we're looking at. I mean, the study goes all the way down to Dr. Hicks. So this is kind of the first phase of that you see that we're looking to implement. Yes, sir.
This is a simple solution. All day long, the speed limit is 25. I would say the average traffic is 45. That's way, yeah, that's a low estimate.
I know where you're going with this.
UNA does not write tickets.
No.
Zero. So while I was in a conference a couple of weeks ago, I checked on those cameras that write tickets. And for a few $1,000s, we could put one on each end. And nobody wants them, but the only people who don't like them are the speeders. The people who aren't speeding, and you could give them 10 miles an hour. That's just called a simple, economical solution.
Very good.
I would say a lot of what causes speed,
I have to give you
is
that.
the geometrics of the road. When you have 4 straight wide lanes, it just feels like it encourages people to speed. You know, I think this arrangement with some kind of lane shifts as you go through there, narrower lanes, 2 lanes, people are gonna feel the need to drive a little slower in this arrangement than they do in a wide open, straight, 4-lane section road, so.
Which
When
the
you're sitting on
majority-
top of that hill at UNA, and
and we already have flashing lights.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, the geometry, and people drive as fast as they feel comfortable driving in most cases, and when you got.
Till they get a ticket.
I know it. That's a
Yep.
good idea.
But of the cost of this, of the $600,000, probably $500,000 of it is for repaving. So this is still a much, it doesn't, even though it's 600,000, it's very little of it going to striping. So it's not an expensive endeavor.
it is
But we
something
could
that
be
is
stopping it now with tickets.
If you drive down Pine Street now, you can. I mean, this is an area that we want to look good. I mean, this is going right through the campus of UNA, and you know, you want a nice looking road. You don't want a road that's driving has potholes in it. I mean, that is not what we want going through the middle of campus. And so,
Who's we?
you are correct. I mean, this needs to be striped, and the extra cost is not a huge expense.
But it was, the question was asked, is UNA involved?
Yes.
Write some tickets. That's what we want you to do, to be involved.
So,
Absolutely.
so,
Plant a few trees and look pretty. I mean,
so,
you know.
May even find a bad person if you're running tag numbers.
so.
What you got going through there, as everybody knows, is when you're at Cumberland, you start going downhill. And when you leave Irvin going north, you're going downhill. And it's hard to do 25 unless you ride your brake. And that's a problem. I mean, it's easier to just kind of coast down, but when you're coasting, you're speeding, to pick up some speed. So it's,
You think
But that's
going
why
down
they
to
have
2 lanes
brakes.
gonna change that?
do what?
Going down to 2 lanes gonna change that, the fact?
It will slow traffic down.
The hill won't be as steep.
It won't?
No, the perception, when you go to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The perception is that it's not a raceway,
Well,
so you will slow down.
give some tickets.
It'll change your
Of course, I'm
perception.
gonna be the first one y'all gonna give a ticket
But
to.
it's hard, it's hard to stay at 25 going down either way.
Changing 2 lanes not gonna change that.
But as far as layout, designs, you know, that is that's what we wanna make sure everybody leaves here, that takes a look at it and make sure that there's nothing that they see that we need to possibly look at for addition to the final
And
preliminary.
one other thing, the parking up by Kilby School,
Yes.
whether it's angle or parallel, I mean, that is a dangerous place right there to park, to get out of your car.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I know there've been some people that's been hit, I don't know how many, but, or have
Yeah,
been
we're
very
trying
close
to
to
add a
it.
dedicated right turn there, cause they do have some stacking, you know, in the afternoon, it backs up out into the, you know, their pickup line sometimes affects Pine Street, so we have a kind of a dedicated right turn lane there that can handle some of that, and there's a dedicated left turn lane into there from the other direction that can handle some of that, that occurs there during.
Currently, it's parallel parking.
That's right,
That's
but it's so narrow that.
How about the numbers versus parallel into the angle? It's gonna increase how much?
I don't remember how many we got there, but you're talking probably 20% more on the angle,
Okay.
something like that. It's not like double.
Does UNA have a parking issue?
Oh, it-
I can answer
I'm
that one for
asking
y'all.
because
That-
they're using it
it
for
is.
equipment.
They
Yes.
had
They got a
in
parking issue, and they
1976
need to
when I
move
was
their
there.
stuff out of their parking lots.
And, so,
Parking's always been a problem, I think on any college campus.
that is, I have not been on college
And
campus,
I agree
that's
with you,
not-
if you build an overpass, if I'm parked down a little bit, I'm gonna cross. I mean, you say, I'm stupid or whatever, but I'm not gonna walk to a crosswalk, I'm gonna, if the quick coast is clear, I'm cutting across the street.
That, yeah,
And I think that's what everybody.
that doesn't go just for college students.
No, it's like downtown, I mean, people circle the block because they want to park in front of a restaurant instead of parking 2 blocks down and walking it,
That's,
human nature.
that is correct.
They could move their, trailer out of that parking deck, their parking lot, and that would increase their parking by 20 parking places right there and not cost the taxpayers any money. I mean, y'all need to go look and see at their parking lot, what they've got in them.
They would
got
still
a
park
parking
on
lot.
Stewart Avenue.
All right, well, let's get back to Pine Street here, and,
Okay.
but yeah, no, I think, and like I said, it's been good discussion, and that's kind of what we wanted to have here.
I
is-
got one more question. That parking, those parallel parking spots right there, is that for, there's a school right there, another school?
Yeah, yes, there's a.
So that parking's for Kilby, not for UNA?
No, this is public, this would, and it's not for UNA, I mean, this is public parking on the streets, so that would be, no. Can UNA put students park there? Yes, I mean, but it would be public parking on the
Could
street.
be metered.
I don't know if it would be metered, but it would be, I don't think currently now that's not a metered zone. Yes.
I really appreciate the paint idea, rather
And-
than putting in concrete. And it makes it a test run, and it may last 10 years, and the paint will last that long. I appreciate that part of this whole plan.
How's the traffic been with it going to 2-lane now on the bridge construction? It's going down to 2 lanes.
Correct. Yes. No, that's what, I mean, I hadn't been sitting out there a whole lot, but we hadn't had any complaints, hadn't had really any accidents either. I think it's gone pretty well, so.
We're going through holidays too.
So,
The kids hadn't been on campus.
No, they're still there.
They're still there, so,
They don't go
Not
off
as many.
campus for this week.
so.
But it slows traffic down.
It does, yes. Yeah. Well, there's not any other questions. Like I said, come look. No, like I said, you can look at the screen, look at, we got a printed off version here in the back. And,
Since you're in engineering, right?
yes, sir.
Can you get speed limit signs over there at least?
So-
So maybe you can remind people of what the speed limit is in
Yes,
the
well,
neighborhood.
they're posted down through Pine Street there.
Find one in the neighborhoods,
Oh, in the-
in the neighborhoods. They're not on Pine Street, I'm talking about the neighborhoods. Maybe just so that it will flash on people, oh yeah, this is a neighborhood.
Hood and.
If
so-
you'll bring them to me, I'll nail them on the telephone
You,
pole.
you-
like that.
you won't charge us too much for that, will you?
No, I won't. I will charge you a dime.
So, yes.
Is there a timeline for getting this work started and completed the next?
That is, we don't have a current timeline, like I said, right now, we're trying to get this preliminary to be able to get all our thoughts together to come up with a final design. And hopefully, then we can have something that we could take to council for approval and then be let for a contract. But the current timeline, we do not have a current timeline there. It's really based on how this meeting and information go that it pushes.
You gonna have more public meetings like this before you present a plan to the council?
No, this is the last meeting we have that we plan, public meeting to have before the council is set. So the next time this will be brought up to the council as a a proposed plan.
Because you don't know how long it might be before you bring it to the council.
No, that's, I mean.
That's still up.
That is, you know, I would say, you know, we've got a pretty good concept through here, and also, we look to move this along hopefully fairly quickly, so.
You do? You do?
Yes. Based on, the results from this and what take it to the council to, we don't wanna sit on this, we want to bring something forward to the council for them to vote on.
I got to go, but I can call you and get a copy of the study that you're saying.
Yes, ma'am. If
Tells
you
me
will-
how many people are crossing the
Yes,
street.
if you will, if you'll call the engineering office,
I
we
will.
can give you,
I'll get
we
it tomorrow.
can, email you a
I'll
copy
call
of
you
it.
tomorrow. I'll
All
get
right.
it tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't know any idea how much the city's paying for this and how much, if UNA is gonna pay anything else, you don't know?
Currently, right now, the project we have is estimated somewhere between $600,000 and $700,000 is what it's gonna cost to.
Cost who is the question I'm asking.
Yes, we have not,
It seemed like that'd be the first thing you would decide, right? Are you just saying that? I mean, what's going on? I mean, like
UNA
it's
won't pay any for the painting because it's not a UNA street.
that's what I was saying, it is our,
it's not a UNA street. It goes straight through UNA.
it is a city
Well,
street.
it's got UNA colors to designate that
It's
song.
still a city street.
Yes, the UNA, yes, the city, that is a city maintained street.
So, I mean, you said you didn't know. So, do you know if UNA is going to pay anything on this, the concrete and the painting?
I do not know. Well, I'm in engineering. I mean, that's we are looking to present this to the council, and then that will be for another department to decide.
Do you know which department would decide that?
I would assume that would be up to the council and how that gets funded.
Okay, all right.
All right. Well, thank y'all for coming out. And like I said, please come out, look at the pictures, and let us know if you have any other thoughts and questions on it there.